great people of the eternal void, if you like, that is YouTube. Maybe not so much a void. I think these days YouTube is very popular, and it's a place where a lot of people get a lot of information from, but a lot of that information is not accurate and not correct. And sometimes it is directed to incite anger and hatred. That's a shame, because it can be really wonderful. Last night, for example, I spent quite a bit of time watching videos about Spanish architecture in Los Angeles and the home that my beloved Morrissey used to live in, just off the Sunset Boulevard. But anyway, today I wanted to read a poem that I think is very relevant to one of my lifelong struggles, a struggle that I tried to capture in the first book that I published, The War Within. And The War Within tries to explain what I have struggled with all of my life, and that is a conflict between two diametrically opposed personalities. So does that mean I'm schizophrenic? Possibly. Because on the one hand, I've always loved this homely sense of cleanliness and being with family and friends and feeling comfortable, and the smell of food cooking in the kitchen and the warmth of a cozy fire and the just ability to interact with everybody and feel loved and at home and comfortable, and education, academia, university, and studying and going on to get higher degrees. And then on the other hand, I've always had a deep fascination with people who are completely on the edge of punk rock chaos and literary chaos, and people who in sport are living right on the edge between being genius and being almost evil. You know, the Eric Cantona type character that jumps into the crowd to kung fu kick a character who he feels that was racially abusing him. And I love that. The whole world was disgusted, and Eric Cantona was banned for a year or whatever it was, 9 months. And I thought, well, the greatest thing that I've ever seen in sports. So I love both sides of the spectrum. And where the conflict really comes in for me is where I love family. I love my family. I've had many loving relationships, and yet I cannot stand the conventional, boring, systematic routine that everybody goes through of go to school, get a job, get a girlfriend, get a boyfriend, buy a house, get married, have children. So with that, I would like to read to you a poem by Charles Bukowski. Are you surprised? From The Pleasures of the Damned, poems from 1951 to 1993. So 1 year before Charles Bukowski's death in 1994. And the poem is called Hello, How Are You? This fear of being what they are, dead. At least they are not out on the streets. They are careful to stay indoors. Those pasty mad who sit alone before their TV sets, their lives full of canned, mutilated laughter. Their ideal neighborhood of parked cars, of little green lawns, of little homes, the little doors that open and close as their relatives visit throughout the holidays, the doors closing, behind the dying who die so slowly, behind the dead who are still alive, and in your quiet average neighborhood of winding streets, of agony, of confusion, of horror, of fear, of ignorance, a dog standing behind a fence, a man silent at the window. And one of the things that always troubled Bukowski, as he lived, of course, a very unusual, unconventional life. Ironically, in the end, he got married, he had children, he became very wealthy, and he lived in a beautiful home in Los Angeles and drove a BMW because his financial advisor told him to buy one for tax benefits. But Bukowski found success in his 50s, and up to that point, he was in and out of homelessness, in and out of jobs, in and out of hospitals, and he lived an extremely unconventional life and could not stand your daily banality of that little suburban home in the little suburban village with a happy little married family and their children and the dog standing at the fence. And we all love dogs, hopefully, and we all love cats, hopefully, but do something different. Challenge convention and fight dogma.